Hello and welcome back to an episode of Generation Films. My name is American Ben. When I first started covering The Expanse on this channel a few weeks ago, some of the first demands I got for content was to make a video about Camina Drummer. And it's pretty easy to give in to that demand. When you ask me to make videos about which alien species humans can have sexual relations with no repercussions, that I hesitate on. But Camina Drummer? Mi pensa she awesome. She legend to all Beltaloda, and it me honor make video about her. I know some of you are probably going to say, but American Ben, what about Bobby Draper and her right hooks? Yes, true, they're a beautiful thing, but this video is about the best woman character in science fiction, and as far as I know, Bobby Draper identifies as a Gundam. And plus, Camina's right hooks are not too shabby either.
Medina station.
It's good to see you.
When I first did some research on Camina to see what videos had already been done, I found a Sci-Fi Channel video from 3 years ago called An Ode to Drummer. But all it was is a 2-minute long collection of some of her best moments. Stupid Innas no treat boss woman with respect. No, we honor our leader. This, An Ode to Drummer. Today we are going to explain her character in The Expanse, her personality and her strengths and flaws. And spoiler alert, people, though I will stay away from major plot spoilers. We are first introduced to Camina on Tycho Station, the largest mobile construction platform in the Sol system, and secretly the base of operations for the OPA under the command of Fred Johnson, where Drummer acted as his commanding officer. As the crew of the Rocinante returned from their mission to Eros, Camina uttered her first words in The Expanse.
Shall I meet them on the dock with guns?
We'll start with conversation.
You really have to admire her passion for killing people. However, I have ADD, and so the first time I noticed Camina was in the next scene, as the Rossi's crew stood around Fred Johnson's desk, pleading with him to help them take Thoth Station. She was guarding the door and prevented Miller from leaving. I have to be honest, when I saw this, I thought to myself, who is this petite, 105-pound woman playing door guard for Fred? I mean, she can't stop Josephus Miller from going right through her. Stupid. Little did I know that in that moment, Detective Miller's life hung by a thread as he stepped in the face of the OPA's baddest mofo, the stone-cold Steve Austin of the Expanse universe, about to rip Miller's alcohol-drenched spleen out with her pinky toe. Do you see that face? Do you see that face? Learn quick. That face means that Drummer don't play. Slow your roll or you're going to sleep for a long time. I'm actually thinking about doing a how-to video on this channel explaining how to try and leave a room when Camina Drummer is guarding the door. The first step is don't. But Camina is more than just some two-dimensional tough guy. She actually might have more depth and balls than anyone else in the show. Sure, Fred Johnson and Anderson Dawes lead the belt, they command the OPA and give it political clout, but Camina Drummer is the heart of the belt. At first glance, you might notice a few things about Drummer, such as she's smart.
There's multiple PDC and railgun impacts, but we have the panel stock here to fabricate replacements for the holes too big to patch.
She's very sarcastic and cynical.
But they dressed in what they
This
had
is another of your teaching moment. I prefer for bleed out in silence.
She thinks death is funny.
Oh, that one just missed puncturing your reactor, see? You guys would have melted instantly.
And she's a wee bit overly competitive.
What, are you laughing at, loser?
But perhaps what stands out most obviously is that she is hella tough, coming replete with a heart of fire and a disciplined mind, together which make up the soul of a warrior. She was guarding the door because she can kick your ass better than most of the dude belters can, and when it comes to her prominent role in the OPA, she earned her way to the top out of merit. And there's no doubt that along the way she developed an exceptional toughness from having to compete with the boys on an equal playing field. The Expanse makes it very clear that Drummer has learned to put up with the guys. For instance, she's not overly sensitive.
I believe that makes you the most powerful man in the system right now.
Oh, really? And go get me a cup of coffee.
She takes condescending quips in stride because that's what she had to learn to do to get where she is. She'll just give you the fingers in return. She learned to be a tough a-hole to put up with a tough existence in which she's surrounded by tough a-holes. Actually, she's the one who often bullies the men.
Matching outfits, really?
Camina almost seems like she has been forced by her upbringing to be tougher than her nature actually calls for. I say this because she actually seems like a pretty nice and compassionate person. The warrior spirit wasn't endowed in her by the blessings of Space God. It was forged by the belt, where safety and survival is never a given, where resources are sparse and people are forgotten among the slums of low-G existence. But don't get me wrong, Camina's toughness is very real. This is who she has become. Camina Drummer is fearless. Death cannot shake her because she shakes death. I mean, this is a woman who, when a bunch of rebel belters took over Tycho's control room, didn't hesitate to run directly into the gunfire with no armor. But it is also quite apparent that her toughness is rooted in insecurity, and such is a weakness, but it is also the source of her strength and the sign of a deep and complex character. Because of the tremendous obstacles she had to fight through to get to where she is, against all odds, if she is scared of one thing, it would be to lose everything she has worked for, everything she has become. She is afraid to not be needed.
It sounded a little like you want me out of the way.
No, it is exactly what I'm saying it is.
Yeah, the doctor's been telling me I need to take a vacation.
This is why Camina refuses to show weakness. She believes that if she shows vulnerability, then people won't believe in her as a leader. When the Belter rebels shot Camina in Tycho's control room, it almost seemed for a second like she didn't want to go down. Go down, Camina, go down. You're shot. And she finally did fall because I suppose to at least some small degree bullets do affect her. But her instinct kicked in and told her not to show to her enemies or to her allies around her that she was injured. And even as she bled out, it seemed like the only thing that she could think of was killing her enemies and taking their wives as concubines. Of course, the main way that her insecurity manifests is through her fear of losing command of Medina Station, formerly the OPAS Behemoth, formerly the Nauvoo, and formerly the artist known as Prince. As soon as Clyce Ashford came aboard to fill the position of her second in command, she became constantly paranoid about his motivations, and she would overcompensate by trying to demonstrate her toughness, such as when she went all war on drugs and attempted to space a dealer. And yet in the end she agreed not to do it, probably because she knew it was the wrong thing to do. But still, her insecurity here allowed Ashford to undercut her and make himself seem to be the reasonable one to the crew. Drummer is not an overly emotional person, but she does wear her insecurities on her sleeve.
Ashford thinks he should have this command. You're probably right.
The truth is that Ashford really was a helpful presence to Camina on Medina Station. He's old and experienced and has seen a lot. But because of her paranoia, she had a hard time saying that out loud or even asking for his help. Sometimes when she needed guidance, as all leaders do, she barked a question as if it was an order.
He doesn't believe us.
Doesn't matter. He gave us 1 minute.
Like I hinted at before though, it's insecurity that drives Camina to be tough, to be great. Because she doesn't want to be outdone, because she doesn't want to lose what she's worked for, she pushes herself to the far reaches of the great beyond. This dynamic between insecurity and strength that lies at the foundation of Camina's personhood is well illustrated by the time she was lying in the medbay of the Behemoth with her spine crushed, unable to walk and in incredible pain. Afraid of becoming useless, of losing her command, she refused to be induced into a coma and labored, pulled her gurney over to the supply rack where she built herself a mech suit to use for walking. And then went right back into action. I know there's a lot of badass moments in sci-fi, but a paralyzed Camina Drummer turning herself into Space Robocop and taking back her ship has got to be up there with the best of them. But her toughness doesn't only come from insecurity. Like I said, the belt hardens you, and Camina loves the belt. Fred Johnson, Anderson Dawes, I have my doubts about their sincerity sometimes. But Camina, she is a true belter. Why did Camina run directly into the line of fire in the Tycho control room when the rebels took over? Well, yeah, she's fearless, but she's fearless because when you are a belter, the belt is bigger than you. To Camina, her life is not more important than the mission or doing her job. No single belter is more important than the cause of the collective belt.
That skiff driver was free to put whatever he liked into his body. We all are. Until that freedom puts others at risk.
Fred Johnson is practical. Camina is idealist. She wants belters to stay authentically belt.
You think this act of mercy makes us better?
A small step, but forward.
This is not who we are.
Camina's commitment to the purity of the belt means that she is distrustful of the establishment powers. This in turn makes her fear any form of assimilation of Earther or Martian practices into the belter way of life. This is why she doesn't like that Ashford and his men wear matching uniforms.
I sacrificed too much of my life to adopt the tradition of my enemy.
And that's basically the same thing I say when people ask why I don't iron my shirts, but I digress. Camina believes that the Belter way of life is worth preserving. She thinks they should live in space, and she fears that the Belter settlers on Illis will grow to forget who they are and where they came from, eventually ceasing to be any different from Inyaloda. Camina fights for Belter independence, not for Belter colonization, something she sees as a practice of inners. And she quit her station when she felt that the Belter leadership had developed an imperialist mindset. You see, through all of the political BS among the factions in the Expanse, people trying to use the plight of the masses to advance their own cause, their own power, Camina is the real hero of the Belt, true to the Belter cause. Now here's the thing about Drummer. Despite her insecurities, her idealism, her rigid dedication to the Belter way, she is a hell of a badass and an excellent leader. She's a commander for a reason. She doesn't wait behind as her soldiers risk their lives on dangerous missions. She's the one in the breaching pod, showing no fear in the face of probable death, rallying the troops and preparing their minds for war.
Good hunting.
Camina sets an example for all Belters, as even though a leader, she is always the first to be willing to lay down her life for the greater good. Despite her fear and insecurity of losing her command to Ashford, she let herself get crushed so that he could go free and they both wouldn't die, because this is what was best for the Belt. Drummer doesn't ask others to get their hands dirty if she isn't willing to as well. She put down the rebel Belters who took over the Tycho control room. She was the first aboard the Navoo on the salvage mission. Belters know that if they're being sent into battle, Camina will be right there with them. Her bravery contagious, her will infinite, and that's why she's the leader of men. I'd run through a wall for Camina, Drummer, or better yet, a ring. And finally, it's worth noting that she also has the touch of compassion necessary to be a leader. She lets Naomi and Agata walk away from the behemoth despite resenting her desire to return to the company of inners. This action will no doubt inspire loyalty that will come back to benefit Camina later. Drummer has a heart, and if you catch her at the right time, she might even let her guard down for a drink or two as she secretly fantasizes about spilling the blood of her enemies. Camina Drummer is one of the most interesting, dynamic characters, period, that I've seen in sci-fi in a long time. She is a rejection of the two-dimensional personalities that we see all too often in space operas. She has many dimensions to her, and I suspect that the steely gaze her eyes project belie what's hidden deep within. And how her character's story unfolds as the Expanse continues is, to me, one of the most compelling reasons to watch the show. Anyways, that is the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. Oh, and over on our Instagram page, we are starting a new thing. At the Generation Films is our Instagram page. We're starting a new thing where we are going to give some sort of gift card, maybe $50, $75, maybe more or less, I don't know, to whoever offers up the best caption on a picture that we put up. You have to be following us though. That's the secret. We will check that out, and then we're going to somehow select a winner and give out gift cards. We might do this weekly, bi-weekly, but you have to be following to find out and to win. So if you're interested in doing that, plus we have a lot of really cool content that we put out over there, please do go over there and follow our page at The Generation Films. Anyways, for now, my name is American Ben, and I'll catch you next time. Generation Films, peace.